my best Red Scare impression there. You know, let's get cancelled. Why not? Let's all get cancelled. Okay, cool. Right. Let's look at breaks. Breaks are really fun. There's a couple of ways to deal with them in this space that we find ourselves in called Ableton Live. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab, in my sample library, I have right here. Look at how nicely organized this is. Look at this. It's gorgeous. I woke up at 5 a.m. one day and was not really sure what to do with myself, so I decided to organize my sample library. And honestly, one of the best things I've ever done, because I know if I want a field recording and I want it to be taking place in the city, then I've got a bunch of noises right here. You know, if it's in the country, it's right here. I've got bird calls. You want bird calls? I got bird calls. Listen to that. It's gorgeous. Let's oh god. I feel like the whole kind of putting a bird sound in an ambient tune thing was that people got really upset about that. So maybe let's put some bird sounds into our breaks tune. Let's just okay, cool. We got a thing going. When I'm working on something, I never like to start from 1-1. Like never. I hate. I really hate starting from 1-1. I think it's messy. Because I want to be able to extend things back quite often. So right, we're just going to put this here, and we're going to put a little bit of some kind of auto filtering, and maybe a frequency shifter. And let's do perhaps some reverb. No, we're not using 2021, not using the Ableton reverb anymore. No, thank you. Let's use vintage verb, because I love vintage verb. This is a Valhalla. I think it's Valhalla. Yeah, Valhalla vintage verb. Look at this. It's gorgeous. And we want it on color now. Oh, listen to that. Gorgeous. And then we're going to put a little compressor on the end of this. Oh, I'm getting timed. Damn. Okay, we're against the clock, guys. But not for Fact Magazine. Got a whole bunch of compression on there. This is just kind of like a VCA style compressor. I don't know, maybe we can talk compressors sometime if you want, but not right now. Just gonna group this, make a couple of these, and have them all oscillating at slightly different tempos. And we're going to pan this one slightly left. I've just been informed that I'm not actually being timed. It was more for support, and I appreciate that. That's very nice. Okay, cool. We've got a whole thing going on here. This is great. Sorry, I'm just making some ambience so I've got like a kind of sense of where we're going with this. Because otherwise I might lose it. I think that's kind of fun though, right? We like that. Anyway, this is besides the point. What we came here to do one thing, and that thing is to chop the breaks. So I've got this little folder here full of classic breaks. This is from, I think it's thesample.net. And look at that, it's got all of these breaks, and they're all named with the original tune, so if you want to clear the sample, then it's not very difficult, but I don't see myself going through that for the sake of a Bandcamp release. Right, let's go for... I like the sound of this one because we got that going on in the hi-hats. That's very helpful. So we've put this up to 160 because that's where we live. We live at 160. It's the pace we want. Am I getting distracted by the bird sounds? Maybe a bit. Let's just put those in the background. Let's do like minus 9. A bit louder. -6. Okay, right. Here we have a break. It is auto warped because that's what Ableton does. If you set it to do that. Now, what we actually want to do is... Okay, so there's a couple different ways of approaching this, right? You can warp it onto grid. So... You know, we go in, and I feel like this is a very kind of like, this is this is the way that live wants you to do it, right? This is the way that society wants us to chop the break, and you know, we're all friends here, we're all queers here, right? And we don't want to do things with the way society wants us to do them. This is like perfectly fine, right? But then you have to deal with those little... You hear after this snare, because of the beat mode of stretching, the way that this preserve function works right here, is it basically says in between, it recognizes that this is a transient and this is a transient, and as a way of getting from this transient to this transient and stretching in time. If I take it super slow, you'll recognize the sound when you hear it, right? And I don't know, imagine you guys probably already know this, but hey, it's worth going into. You hear that? What it's doing is it's cycling backwards and forwards over this transient window, basically. Before it gets to the next one. And I like that sometimes. I don't like that other times. And this is kind of the only method where you still preserve the snap of your transients, right? It's in the name. But the way that I like to do things... So this is kind of, you know, one method of... And we double that up, so we've got like a nice like. But because the transient detection isn't always bang on, you know, sometimes it's a little before is fine, but if it actually recognizes the transient as taking place here, then what it means is the beginning of this transient gets caught up in the previous note. So when it's cycling backwards and forwards, you're actually losing the attack of your snare. So what we do, we turn warp off, right? And then we use the detune, and I feel like this is a very like classic way of chopping breaks. I feel like this is like how I was doing it when I was a wee nipper, when I was only small, because I've been doing this a long time. I had Sonic Foundry Acid before it got bought out by Sony in probably 2002, and I just used to we would get like a bunch of sample packs on CD. I had like one that had like all of the breaks that were on the first Left Field album and loads of samples that were on the first Left Field album. Crazy, so good, blew my mind. But I would just load in loads and loads of drums, and I think that's like, that's all I'm ever doing, right? I'm doing exactly the same thing that my 8-year-old self would have done. But yeah, so I just kind of like, I zoom in like this. I'm going to listen to it. But I think that sounds quite nice. And actually, the slightly offbeat thing, it works really nicely for it because it feels natural. You know, when you listen to the groove back, it's kind of dragging that third beat ever so slightly. You know, if I went in and warped that in, it would lose character. It would lose the human element of the person that's playing it. And I think there's a certain amount of... I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. If you're going for a kind of like transhumanist approach or whatever, and that's like baked into the aesthetics of the track, then, you know, go in, warp it all in, you know, if you want it to be machinic. But I think for the most part, if I'm chopping a break, the reason that I want the break in my track is because I want there to be some kind of textural, human kind of thing brought back into this kind of like machine computer world. And I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be bifurcating humans and technology on my profile, but hey, whatever. So this is one of the reasons why I chop like this, because I think it's, it allows some of that space, you know, and I'll probably undo some of that, but I think when you start from a place of looseness, it's going to be baked into everything rather than starting from a place of rigidity and then trying to make that loose, you know? So we've got this. We've identified our core rhythm quite simply. Don't ba, don't ba, don't ba, ba. What if that pattern was dump, ja, dump, ja. Okay, so we've got our first kick. We select a region, hit Command E, and that chops that. So E, I like to remember like Command G for making instrument racks is Command Group, right? Command E, Command Edit. It snips it into a little window. And then we take this here, and this is our snare, and we chop that. Bam, bam, bam. Cool. We've got chops. We've officially chopped. We haven't rearranged, but we've chopped. And we're going to go for a really basic, different pattern. So our pattern before was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if we split that out into 3 beats? So we've not evenly spaced because we're working in dotted, but already lovely. Already so nice. And we're already hearing that there's like, you can hear that maybe you can hear that conga in the left channel. There's a cadence in there already. So I want to take some hi-hats to fill that out. So let's have a listen to what's going on over here. Great, yeah, let's have that. And again, I'm just going to go in. And I'm going to look at this. I'm just going to set my start point slightly before, just so we can see that those are starting to come into time. I could probably actually lower that in pitch and just have this fill the whole region. Because I think slight variations in pitch, slight kind of tension in the middle of a rhythm. I mean, like if you listen to like, I bang on about this one particular track all the time, but Warrior by Dillinger. Maybe I'll play a little bit of it, actually. Yeah, I'm going to play a little bit of it. Warrior by Dillinger. There's this really gorgeous thing in the center of it. And I think, like, you know, as much like, you know, I think examples are key, because like part of what informs what we do with music is how we contextualize the stuff that we're doing, and it's all about oh god, I love this tune. I love this tune so much. The way that we inform that is by our reference points and whatever, and like that is key. Let's get a bit of this. This 1994. Incredible. Let's just get a little bit into it. much is this on Discogs? Let's find out. Oh, wait, no. Ignore me. I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing that right now. So my point is, if you listen to that, if you listen to the drum programming, he's very clearly working with, like, he's got like a hi-hat running that he's like programmed in like a chut 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 chut, and then he's got the other break that goes don 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 chat chat chat, and that is slightly too fast or slightly too slow, and it means that the hi-hats don't line up properly. And it's just this little gorgeous bit of tension right in the center of the tune. You know, again, it's that thing of like injecting, you know, some looseness. And that's a really it's a really key thing for me. So, I don't know. Right, okay. So, we're looking at this, right? This is... We're just going to drop that. We're going to take this one here. We're going to drop this into here. I don't like that chop because that little conga that's on this one is in there. I think it's literally the same. It's literally the same beat. So I'm just going to scroll through. I'm going to use this at the bottom so I can see where I'm going. And then if I hit Alt and Shift, this was a new function introduced in Live 10 and blew my mind. I haven't got Live 11 yet. I should get Live 11. But hey, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I hit Alt and Shift and then I hit Command. And if I use Command, then I can do a kind of off-grid, because otherwise it jumps in 16th notes or whatever the main, or 32nd notes, because I'm in this. But I want to be able to decide exactly where that is. So, because I can alter that groove. You hear how that's so different, you know? That's straight. And if this is straight, then what this does is this pulls you into the following beat, right? It's like it's a continuation. Whereas if this is offbeat as it was a second ago, it completely alters the way that the rest of the other notes feel, because what this is doing is this is creating a relationship between this and this, right? Do we continue seamlessly into the next beat, or are we creating a stutter? You know, so I could do, like, for example, we were talking about the idea of cadence before. We were talking about voice leading. I like to think about rhythmic cadence. It's a huge part of one of the ways that I understand music. I think Dillinger and Remark, they're gods at it. You know, I really haven't encountered people better. So I'm gonna just just loop that over, and then we're gonna loop the whole thing. Hey, come here. Thank you. And what we're going to do is we've got two. What if on this third one So we've got it's your, like, you know, it's your one chord, it's your one chord, it's your 5 chord, it's your one chord. You know, it's C, it's C, it's G, it's C. It's the same principle, like how you choose where to make, you know, changes in a groove or whatever. So because I know that I'm going to make this change here, I would then think about signposting that maybe right here. Okay, so we've had this first part of the groove has stayed the same in this loop, and then again in this loop, and then we're going to change it here, and that's going to be our departure. And the way that I can signal that is I can change one of these minor notes here, and it could, we just change it to a different hi-hat accent, or and actually, I think what I actually want is I want this, because this feels like it's actually a response. It feels like it's how to describe. I feel like this goes here. I don't know why. I just do. I just feel like that goes there. That's it's that simple. And you know, it's always the way with like chopping breaks or whatever. It's you can intellectualize it up to a point. So like this is, I guess what that does actually, if I think about it, because that's occurring on the third beat. So the whole way through, we've got a pulse that goes 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. And what we do here is by shifting this off beat, we've really disrupted that straight 4/4, and just pulling that off ever so slightly. Just pulling that off ever so slightly, it disrupts that 4/4 metric. And then what we do here by bringing this hi-hat back onto we've got this hi-hat pulse here. What that does is that restates that 4/4. And it's so subtle. It's such a small thing, but it's your groove, and your groove. You know, here we're making dance music, and this is, it's the backbone of your tune, right? So one of the things that I might do now is, if I was working on it, is I would color code these, just to give myself an idea of like, so I'll say like red is like the more 4/4, and I wouldn't do this right now, but if I was like later on in the tune, I mean, you could probably see in the, I don't know if you call it, but in Flash Gun for a Fiver, because it's moving, it's having to move from don't to like don't because it's moving from those two things. It made so much more sense to me to color code. So I'm like, I know that if I select a little bit from this rhythm cell that's over here, that's kind of the drum and bass bit from the kind of rolly bit, I want to be able to see where each of those is, so I can make a decision as to where I'm moving between those two different types of groove. Let's put a little bit of that there. Let's reverse it. Let's just drag that in. Let's take a bit of this, and then it's just doing like, what little embellishments can we do? You know, what can we take away from this? If we do this, we take maybe a slightly different snare. Let's go for, there was like a little offbeat snare at the end that I quite liked. Is it that? You know, and like, what do these little embellishments do? What do they tell us? You know, it's always about kind of, you know, storytelling, right? But yeah, I think that kind of like, I don't know, you think about like where the pacing is constantly, you think about what you're trying to say with each groove that you do, right? Okay, so the point of this is to kind of spell out a kind of basic pattern. In fact, I'm just going to do a quick a bit of loudening on this, because it's a bit. It actually sounds pretty good out the gate, right? Because it is what it is. Someone has already mastered this. I don't need to touch this, and yet here I am doing it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just carving out a bit of space. To put in another break. And I'm going to go back into my sample library. And I'm going to think about what is going to sit in that little kind of 1K space that I've made. I'm looking for stuff that's got that kind of mid-range. It doesn't need to be super transient-y, you know, because I'm already stating a. You know, we've got a fairly decent idea of what the pulse is, so. You know, that's basically the same sound as this, right? Yeah, there we go. Something with a nice big snare. Okay, and we're gonna do with this one. We're gonna do it as using simpler. This is simpler. Slice mode. Look at that, gorgeous. We love it. We're gonna fold that out. We're just gonna go in and just check all of these transients. Like I was saying before, you know, it's like we don't want something to get caught in. So you see there, we're losing a bit of attack. So we just go in and we just neaten all those up. Right. We're looking good. I think we're looking good. Because I don't want to. I also kind of want it to be a bit, you know, again, be a bit loose, be a bit messy. I'm gonna go over the half hour, and well, you know, you asked for it. Cool. Right. Let's just. Oh, I want that. Okay, I can't promise this is going to sound good. I can't promise it's going to sound nice, but hey, we're doing it. Let's go. Right. When you use simpler, it takes all of these and it slices them up into... Right, we've got all those notes. That's cool. We like that. I'm going to do something now which is... perhaps you may think is a little bit rogue, but hey, live a little. When I'm working, usually I put a bunch of processing on the master. Oh, geez, I've just realized I'm doing all of this with SonarWorks on, so this sounds really good to me, and it probably sounds kind of whack to you guys. Let me just, sorry. SonarWorks is really cool. In case you haven't come across it, I really love SonarWorks. What it does is you play a bunch of test tones in your room, and then it goes wop 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 wop, and it gives you like a curve based on what it's discovered. So wait 1 minute, if I show you simulated before. So this is everything that's wrong with my room, right? Everything that's wrong with my speakers, and then it's basically applying like a super good EQ curve. But yeah, I'm just going to mute that for the moment and use the system wide one instead. So yeah, sorry, that probably just got super loud to you guys, but yeah. So yeah, let's put a bit of that on there, and let's do a little bit of vintage warmer. It's like cheap and dirty. I love this thing. It's beautiful. And this is just kind of like, it's just like a little tape emulation. Oh, listen to that. God, it sounds We're nice and crunchy now, you know. Okay, right. So the main thing, the main point of this second break here is to bring in that snare tone, right? That snare is gorgeous. It's godly. We love it. We love it. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this over. I'm just going to make a decision based on my ears as to where that's going to go. Right, okay, I'm going to duplicate that loop so it's not happening every time. It's going to happen on the first one and not on the second one. And then again, that helps with that sense of cadence, you know, that sense of change. Wait, I've just realised. Oh, right, okay, cool. No. Oh, God. Hey, shut up, me. The nice thing about this is that snare's now getting lost because it's recognizing that there's a transient there that there isn't. So just double click and it deletes the transient marker, and now we've got a nice full, which you can't do when you're doing the kind of beats mode. So I'm just going to put these in on the 2 and. So what that does then is that emphasizes this second downbeat in this break. And I'm going to put this kick on that offbeat there, so we get dum dum. There's my other kick. And we're going to put this other kick here because then that matches up with this one. And I might duplicate this out actually so it matches exactly, or I might do it as like, you know, I was saying before about like hinting at something that's going to happen later. I don't know. We'll play it. So it's kind of one of the ways you can go about doing this thing. I mean, something that I've played about with before, which is quite fun, is here we go, instrument rack doing the damn thing. We're going to go into chain. We're going to duplicate this out a couple times, and we're going to select all of these. We're going to go like this, doop, doop, doop. And then this is cool. Right click on this, distribute ranges equally. Wow, isn't that fun? So it just does the work for you, so you don't have to sit there and do the thing. It's yeah, which is quite annoying. If I just loop this over. what this means is I'm now going to go into the main page of this. Oh, wait, no, it's here. I'm going to warp this. And then I'm going to put an LFO, the Max for Live LFO. I'm going to take this and I'm going to map that onto here. And look at that. It just, woo, woo, woo. It's doing the thing. It's doing the gorgeous thing. Pardon me. And we're going to put this on random, just for now. We're going to set this depth to be 100%. So it means that it just switches between these different sound sources. And we're going to bring this one down to 3, actually. And this is the point where I would begin to kind of experiment and just kind of like follow my nose on what's working for each of these different breaks. But the nice thing is it means that you can do different things and then still apply the same processing afterwards. So if I was doing a bunch of EQ and compression or whatever that made space for the other break or, you know, whatever. Yeah, it would just be a way of getting around having a bunch of instances of the same thing on a bunch of different channels, and actually you can just process them all together without putting them in a group. I can write MIDI for them, and the same MIDI affects all of them. I don't know. We've been into this. We've been into this. But yeah, I don't know. I think we can kind of call that there. I mean, that's kind of like, I think you've seen like physically the way that I do it, but then also like what I'm thinking about as I'm doing it. But yeah, cool. Right, let's hop back onto Zoom, because we've been on for 2 whole hours by now. So yeah, cool. I'll see you guys there in 2 moments. Cool. See you in a sec.